Good evening and welcome to a new edition of To The Point. This evening we'll be delving into quite a critical file, which is Egyptian tourism. According to statements by the Ministry of Tourism, Egypt lost over $7.5 million over the past 2 months since the downing of the Russian airliner. Mixed statements came regarding this issue. According to initial investigations, the committee said that there is no evidence thus far that this airliner was bombed or there was any explosives aboard this airliner. In a recent statement by the Russian President Vladimir Putin, he said that Egypt has nothing to do with the downing of this airliner. Unfortunately, international media had a field day with regards to what happened to the Russian airliner, issuing mixed statements which ended up with confusion and the spread of fear vis-a-vis tourism in Egypt. Well, since those statements came out, did we see a change in the stance of international media? This will be under discussion this evening. In addition to the fact that last October, an international committee was here in Egypt to investigate, which is part and parcel of, I believe, civil aviation regulations. A committee was here in last October to investigate the security of Egyptian airports, and at the time it issued a satisfactory report. Earlier in the day, the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Civil Aviation managed to contract an international organization, security organization, which is being entrusted with further investigating the Egyptian airport security. That and much more will be discussed this evening with a distinguished panel. With us this evening is Mr. Akram, Allam, who is a tour guide and an international lecturer. A pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
With us also this evening is Mr. Walid Batouty, representative for the World Federation, Middle East and North Africa. A pleasure to have you both with us. Gentlemen, I know you're very immersed in the tourism industry, and I know that, well, we're suffering.
We
to
are.
Put it,
Western media in particular is taking a very strong stand against Egypt, and they're trying to strangle Egypt economically, and they're still sending those bad vibes all over that Egypt's still not safe. Yes. I want you to know that Egypt is much safer than many other places. I travel all the time. I travel very frequently. And I meet a lot of travelers to Egypt, and they all tell me that walking in the streets of Cairo is much safer than where they live in many different cities in the world. Unfortunately, we still have not been able successfully to communicate with the world media. We still have a lot of work to do. We have to invite and call a lot of foreign journalists, foreign travel experts, travel agents from all over the world to come and see things by themselves. And I totally support the movement that was taken today. I heard it in the news today that we have contracted this new security company from the UK to look over the security issues and measures in our airports. And I think this should be lighted up. And we should let the world know that our security at airports is very much now reaching a world standard. And we should say this loud so we can gain the trust of the world travelers.
This was said in October, right before the tragic incident.
They have contracted.
A committee, an international committee came, I believe it's part of the regulations. They evaluated the airport, and in October they issued a report saying, but it's not publicized.
As soon as the accident happened, we had investigators from Russia, we had them from Germany, we had them from the UK.
Yes.
And I think from many other countries too, and unfortunately they all give different contradictory reports. Now the only reports that we should listen to is the one coming from Egypt and the one coming from Russia, all right? And I think we should make our security at airports much better, and this is why we contracted this new company. We're not trying to save our face, but we're trying to tell the world that we are following international security standards, and we should make this point very widely.
You comment?
I did smile when Mr. Akram said we have to only listen to the report that comes from Egypt and Russia. I remember when the accident happened, England confirmed that it was a bomb before the country that made...
Within minutes of the incident.
As if they're the ones who planted the whole thing, so I found
before the bodies were actually removed.
Before anything else.
Yes.
And they have nothing to do with the plane. They don't have passengers. And the country itself that has passengers and victims, and they own the plane, they're the ones who said, what's going on. As if you really know. And then they made a statement, they said, it's a bomb. Hello, how do you know? They said, oh, we intercepted some calls. Okay, yes, can you help us? At the same thing, I'll go back to what Mr. Akram, I'll start from there, what he said. I don't remember that any other country in the world wanted to check the security measurements of JFK after 9/11 or all the airports of the United States. Have you heard of anything like this? After 9/11, I didn't think we all said we want to check the security measurements over there.
Can I go back to bad memories for you?
Oh, yes, please.
When the Egyptian airliner was downed, did they check the security measures?
No.
The Egyptian airliner that was traveling through...
No, but if I talk, you know what? If I talk, it's going to be...
I'm talking.
Yeah. No, if I talk, it will be bad news for them. But, we're here to talk...
Did it ever reach a stage?
Let's go back to tourism, okay? The story and the issue is, as Mr. Allam said, the Russian tourism have a big segment of, or a big share of the Egyptian tourism industry. I mean, they give us close to 3 million tourists a year, okay? So they have a big share. So when everybody was putting pressure in Egypt and then they did squeeze on the prices, I've always said Egypt will never be safer 10 English pound less. The British, they always try to fetch for 2, 3 English pound cheaper.
A better bargain.
And if they do this, then Egypt is safe. And I agree, Egypt is not safe 100 English pounds less. No. It's either safe or not safe.
Yes.
Right? So they always try to take an advantage. But bear in mind, the 10 pound that you take down, it's very difficult to take it up again. And they play with the market. And then we have this campaign that has been led by the media in the West. Right? We know that there is an Arab country that bought almost every newspaper and a media broadcast in England. Big, they might sue me now, but I'm not going to say their name, so I'm not going to give them the chance. But I'll tell you that they've been, big newspaper has been saying wrong things about Egypt.
It's politics.
It's politics. Thank you, yes. And then the majority of the travel companies that they export tourism to Egypt is owned by Turkish. What happened? The Turks went to Russia and bought some travel companies over there, and because Egypt is a destination that they make good money, so they're bringing tourism over here into this country.
Excuse me, Walid, it's not only that they send the business, but they control the hotel industry in Egypt too. In
I was
Sharm
just
el-Sheikh and
going
Hurghada.
to get into that, because when you say, quite frankly, when we say that Egypt is losing a lot of money in the tourism industry, correct me if I'm mistaken, and I sincerely and I pray to God that my understanding is wrong. Because what I understand is that the Egyptian government is subsidizing this industry.
That's very unfortunate, yeah.
And the hotel chains are international hotel chains. The big tourism companies are international tourism companies. The big airliners are international airliners, most of them.
Yeah, not to the resort areas. These are all charter.
The charter for what, Egyptian?
The private companies.
The private companies.
But they're not Egyptian.
No,
They're not Egyptian.
no, they're not.
Well, that's what I mean by international. I don't mean private or government. I mean non-Egyptian.
Non-Egyptian, you're right, you're right.
The companies, the hotels,
Not flag
the
carriers.
money is not going into Egypt. Yet, Egypt is subsidizing that industry. So Egypt is subsidizing the foreign tourism companies, the foreign airliners, the foreign hotels. So are we really getting money out of tourism?
No, they still want to suck us dry. Because we played the game wrong from the beginning.
So am I misunderstanding?
No, you're absolutely correct, but we played
And we're
the
giving
game
a
wrong.
discount.
Yeah. We played the game wrong from the beginning, because we do not control our sources. because you let somebody else control our sources, and he has his conditions. And unfortunately, you have nothing to do but to agree with these conditions, because you want the hotels to be filled, you want the people to be employed, you want the restaurants to work, you want the beaches to be filled, so you have nothing to give now, except subsidizing. And even with that, you know, there's still
But there's a
not
limit.
yet.
I mean, the policy in Egypt now is to cut on subsidies. I mean, we have shifted drastically to reducing subsidies on major commodities and major industries to the average Egyptian layman.
Yes.
So we cut subsidies to the Egyptian person, the taxpayer, and we give a subsidy to the foreign company?
Well, as I told you, we played the game wrong from the beginning, because the subsidy was supposed to be given to the tourists that come to visit all Egypt. And then they are the shoppers. They are the, you know, they go here and there and entertain and eat and spend money. Then you're at least getting something back from them when they spend money. But you're talking about the Russian tourists.
Are they spending money?
The average tourist, yes, they do. But you're talking about the people that go to the beaches, to the ritzy resort areas.
This is where the
No,
most of
it's
the
all,
tourism
it's
is.
all inclusive.
Isn't
You know?
that where most of the tourism right now is?
Nowadays,
not
yes.
not just after the revolution, but for some years now.
No, still the classic type of tourism was still working, and that was actually sort of uplifting the whole industry. But now you have the good thing about the resort, the ritzy resort tourism kind of thing, is that they employ a lot of people, and the country needs that. They fill the
But we
facilities.
need to feel that there is
Yes.
a revenue
But
from
at
the-
least
this
there
industry.
was a substitute from the other tourists that come and visit the pyramids and Luxor and Aswan and the other sites, and they pay.
Yes.
Now the
So one
tourists
carries the other.
one carries the other. Then at the end of the day, we're balanced. Now you don't have the other the classic tourists. You don't have them, or you have a very few of them. So you're left with the tourists that go to the resorts, and those are all inclusive. I hope you know what you know what
Yes,
does it
and
mean
it
to the
does,
average
it does.
to the average viewer. All inclusive, that you don't spend a penny anywhere.
Yes. You eat, you drink, and
Everything
I'm
is free.
underlining drink.
Yeah. 24/7.
No, but they do spend on water activities.
Well, that's the least.
Sorry.
I have seen a lot of tourists in
So
the
we as
in
Egyptians
areas
pay, but
that
they
they
don't.
charge
we do.
us $20. You know, all they brought with from home is $20 or $10, and you tell them, what is this going to do to you? They say, well, everything is paid. This is the subsidized tourism that we should stop.
No. The lady you met in Hurghada a couple of months ago,
She has $5. She came with $5.
$5 in her pocket.
Yeah.
She came to Egypt.
With $5.
I mean, I don't go to Zamalek with $5.
She said, why would I bring
$5
money?
is 40 Egyptian pounds.
Yeah, she said, well, why would I get money? I mean, everything is paid. So everything is paid with subsidy.
Do you understand? She had $5 in her pocket.
So
she left the country with $5.
we have to restructure the entire industry. We really do. Because if we leave it like this, I mean, we're not getting anything out of it.
In the past,
And then at the end, we're getting criticized.
in the past, well, I asked you before we went on air, what's our limit? But I'm going to try to behave as much as possible. In the past, the secretary or the minister of tourism has to stand in front of the president and say, Mr. President, now because of your inspiration and vision, now we have 10 million tourists. And next month we will have 12 million because we see that you're going to think of something good idea that will inspire more tourism. And next month he meets up with them and he says,
But this is no longer the case, because people now are aware. They're not talking about the number as much as is what is this sector yielding to the to Egyptian industry.
we still...
And what kind of a tourist are we attracting? You have to attract the A, B, and C. You cannot just attract the C class.
No, we're attracting the X and the Y and the Z.
Yeah.
We can't continue to attract.
Okay, when we're subsidizing them, and you said a
very.
very beautiful thing when you said, are we subsidizing? Yes, we are. Okay.
Because we're subsidizing the industry,
And you know
but at
where
the
is the
end of the day,
subsidization
it's not
coming
for
from?
us.
Do you know where is the subsidization? Yeah, and I mean, where this money is coming from?
The taxpayer.
No, it's coming from the people that goes and do the Umrah and the Hajj.
A part of the traveling fees to Hajj and Umrah is dedicated to that.
Can you imagine? So, Ahmed in the countryside, he sells a piece of land to go and do the Umrah or the Hajj, his dream. Part of this money goes to subsidize this. I mean, we could say more.
And then the tourist, his hometown, The media in his hometown is criticizing us.
Yes.
Yes.
But there's a catch-22 here because the airliners, let me say ABC, a person will go to an airline company and charter a plane, and he's committed to fill it. Well, he comes to us and he says, I cannot fill it. So we pay him
For the empty seats.
for the empty seats. So he would come.
So if you have a plane that holds, let's say, 150 passengers, he fills 75 and get paid for another 75.
Yes,
Why
sir.
do we have to do that?
A smart person came up with this idea some time ago.
Why?
Well, he thinks he's
To do
someone...
what?
No, because we have to keep the hotels working. We have to keep the people
But
working.
they're not working.
They're not working.
I mean,
Well,
this way they
are.
will not work.
Well, they are, but they're working with minimum wages, you know. They're working and keeping everything very low, and this is why a lot of services are below the international standard. You know.
We're coming, we're close to, I mean, the Mood al-Nabi and the Christmas...
This is supposed to be the peak season of tourism.
Yes.
And that incident,
And
the
now-
Russian airliner,
Not
the
this year.
timing was
Crucial.
done strategically.
You want to talk about the timing? It was done right before right when the president was
Going
in
to
England.
England, yeah.
I mean, that's not a coincidence. That was planned. But anyway,
Why?
because this will take us to politics, not tourism. Again, politics. Okay.
Because
Well, they're connected.
They want
They're
to strangle
connected.
Egypt. They want to strangle Egypt economically.
But
40
is it strangling us economically? In other words,
40
when I'm not really getting money out of this sector as much as we think
No,
we're
we were
getting.
still getting money, but
We're
we're
still
not getting
getting
as much
nothing.
as we should. We were getting money.
But
we
is
weren't
it
getting
really
as much as we
strangling
should.
my economy?
Nowadays, yes.
Yes, 14
Nowadays.
billion dollars.
Because I'm subsidizing and I'm not getting anything in
Yeah, but
return.
now you have at least 5 million people out of job. You cannot keep them out on the
We used
streets
to make
any longer than
$14
that.
billion dollars. The World Bank had just given us a loan of $1 billion. We didn't need that if we had the $14 billion. $14 billion of 2010.
That's 1 month.
2010. Okay, we're in 2016. By 2016, according to the plan, we should have been making now $20 billion. Okay? In the past, they said with every million tourists, there is 200,000 chance of a job. Right? We used to laugh at this. We see it on television and we see it on the media, and we laugh because it's all a lie and a joke. It was not true. They say whatever they say. To be hired, you have to sign a resignation in order to be hired. You sign it with no rights. But we don't want to go there. I want to go back to what
How
they're trying
can
to
we elevate or shift so that we have higher level of conduct, if I can put it that way? In other words, what do we need to do? For example, in a week or so, the Parliament will be convening and they're supposed to be issuing a number of laws. Do you think we should revisit rules and regulations regarding tourism in Egypt?
Definitely, 100%. But as I said, we have to restructure the entire industry, and we have to make it up to a certain international standard. Our 5-star hotels are not 5-star hotels. Our
No, we have
5-star, one or two, our 5-star cruise ships are not 5-star
But how
cruise
can
ships.
you elevate the standard when you're not getting money?
This is what I mean.
I
By
mean,
reconstructing the
5
whole business.
stars, I mean, when you travel abroad, you have 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 star, 5 star, and you pay. Here, you want to get the 5-star service, and you are a 2-star tourist?
This is what happens.
But this doesn't happen anywhere in the
The
world.
equation is not right.
Of course.
You're right.
You don't come and have a 100-pound all-inclusive.
But this is how the business was structured when it started.
Well, how can you have, for you to have a 5-star facility, you have to pay and invest. You're going to pay and invest from what? The average layman? Ahmed or Abdu or whoever you were talking about to upgrade the service?
There is other issues. I mean, do
The
you want us
subsidy,
to dig? Do you really want to
subsidy
know?
we're talking about does not go to the hotel business. The subsidy goes only to the airline business.
No, I'm saying, how are you going to elevate this? Whose role would it be to elevate the standard of hotels?
The person in charge,
state.
give me a second, Aki. The person in charge needs to have a will. Does he have the will? Serious will. We're not going to bring tourism into Egypt with a sign.
But I'm going to elevate and spend money to upgrade something, and then at the end of the day get a 2-star tourist to stay in a 5-star hotel?
No, your 5-star tourist does not want to come to Egypt because of the 2-star tourist.
That's it.
We were just there. We were just there. We were both last month in the United States meeting with upscale people.
Clientele, huh?
Clientele. And they said, Akram, Walid, we don't want to come to Egypt because like the lady that does my nails is in Egypt. I'm not saying that we stop them from coming.
Not in Egypt.
But you have to categorize.
That's it.
But she stays
Like
in the
everywhere
same
else,
hotel.
like everywhere else.
I don't want to mention the name of a hotel, but I mean,
No,
look at
don't
the
mention.
look at the name of the most expensive hotel in Egypt is not equivalent to a no-star hotel in New York outside of Manhattan. Okay, and the meals, this. What is going on? Does the person in charge has the will? Listen, we will not. And I'm saying out loud now, we will not bring tourism into Egypt when you bring me some unknown actors and you take them to Sharm el-Sheikh and you get them to appear on television and you put in their mouth words in English when they do not speak English. It's very obvious. The woman that she said, come to Sharm el-Sheikh, I'm not going to say the other one, come to Sharm el-Sheikh, she needs, you know, somebody has to tell her.
Spent.
Okay, and there's a big
huge
bill.
amount of money
I
spent
want
in this
the person
campaign.
who took that woman and put these words in her mouth to come and say, sorry, we have spent X amount of thousands of pounds on that woman. Sorry, here's her plane ticket. Here is...
With professional campaigning.
You know, here's... I'll get to the professional campaigning. Here's the hotel that she paid. Here's the breakfast, lunch, and dinner she had. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I'll pay for it. Because we used to do this. When we make a mistake, they make us pay for it. Okay? So this has to be implemented as well on the government employee that took the Mrs. Sharm el-Sheikh and make her come on television. Sorry, that's not acceptable. I'm not accepting this, and it's driving me mad that somebody did this. And then you go and tell me we're going to bring an international company to do an international campaign about Egypt, and then it's the same guy, Willing Dervish. I mean, the Willing Dervish will not bring tourism into Egypt anymore. Stop it. The belly dancer will not bring tourism into Egypt anymore. We have wasted 5 years. What did you do in the 5 years? Tell me, what did you do in the 5 years? You took some millions of dollars in a country that needs the dollars. You took some million of dollars.
And before the 5 years, what was done?
At least it was going, and you depended
No, because
on...
you had no security issue. It was going because you had no security issue.
And the political situation was different too.
That's what I mean. Plus, we always positioned Egypt as a cheap destination. The country with thousands of years of civilization was not positioned as an expensive.
Maybe she's talking to the wrong people, because yes, we work in the very expensive segment of tourism. So we did not see, I have to admit, we did not see the other side, and we have to be honest about it. Next time we'll bring you somebody who've worked with them.
The majority of the tourists were not A+.
Well, you have to have all kinds. You have to have all kinds and all grades.
But in a country with thousands of years of civilization, I would have thought the majority of the tourists.
But listen, I mean, also,
can you provide
facilities
can you provide
the
A-class
for the very high
with what they want?
We should.
We don't have the facilities to match the needs and the desires of the very high-end
How can we change that?
Oh,
because right now we're in a stage of reformation.
Well,
and this has to be part and parcel of our reformation
can I tell you, but please give me a second. I've always been coming on television in Arabic, in English, whatever, and I've always been talking about one issue. The rights of a bathroom. In the past, a tourism minister on a TV show on 2010 or 2009, he did laugh on television. He says, not everyone comes to the pyramid has to go to the bathroom. Ha ha ha. He thought it was funny. All right. If I'm a diabetes and I go to the pyramid, I should find a clean public bathroom without somebody staying inside and saying Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
With toilet paper.
And with toilet paper.
A proper clean toilet. I mean, is that too much to do?
Okay, and then someone says, oh, this is the antiquity ministry has to do this. No. Ministry of Tourism should have said, okay, we had 5 years down, I'll take all the money that I spend on the media, I'll spend it on the public service that I give to the tourism, such as bathrooms, such as places to, they stand in the shade in case in the summer, such as to fulfill your promises. You announced, listen to this, you announced to the world. I have some friends who guides in Japanese. Unfortunately, they were so naive and they believed that they said they're going to light the Valley of the Kings at night in Luxor.
So they'll open the sites at night.
And the sites are going to be open at night. Oh, that's a new, okay, here we go. We're thinking.
But this has been changed due to security
Same day.
issues.
So why did they announce it?
It opened for one day.
What did they announce it?
Okay, we'll go, security, okay, we'll go back. We'll go back, right. How about installing some fans in the sites? Fan.
So we need to upgrade public facilities.
Definitely.
What else do we need to do?
We need to consider the hygiene.
This is upgrading public facilities. This is inclusive.
Well,
No, hygiene
amount,
and sites
a huge
as well.
number of the people that come, they get
Cruise
sick
ships.
eating on cruise ships. A big number that is considered. Actually, it's something that's written now against us in every guidebook. When you are in Egypt, be careful of the water, be careful of the food. You know, we don't treat things like this in other countries. You know, actually, it hurts when somebody comes and say, "When I'm going to get sick." I have a lot of people that actually bring their food with them. They bring their food from home to eat in a hotel or in a cruise ship. They don't trust the quality of our food or the hygiene of our food. That should be addressed.
What else?
Hygiene, it should be addressed. The tipping situation. Everywhere, every minute, every step, everybody's coming and asking for a tip.
Because
the
they're
taxi
not paid well.
situation, the tour coaches situation, the cruise ship situation, the traffic situation.
What about, you're not talking about the rules and regulations, which, in my point of view, are more important because...
The rules and regulations, yeah, there are so many amateurs in the business now. There are people that they think they can get some gold if they work in this business, and it's easy, it's hit and run. So they make a few good trips here and there, they get the money, and then they don't deliver the service that they were required to do at the beginning.
Can I give you one interesting thing? Just you were asking where does the money goes. Some colleagues from Hurghada, they told me, please, if you ever go on television, please mention this. One of the good things that was happening in Hurghada is the selling of leather. Finally, you've heard leather goods is being sold in Hurghada, and tourists, they go in the buses, and we go at night, and there is, we take the tour bus, and then one of the boys says, well, Mr. Walid, I want to tell you one thing. They don't take anything. I said, what? He says that we bring the bus, it has 40 passengers, they go into the shop has everything for them, they see it.
It's fancy.
It's fancy and it's beautiful. You try it, you go in the fitting room, you like it, and then they say, okay, your total bill, $2,000 or $3,000.
Whatever.
Dollars. Just give us $50, you pay only in Egypt, and I hope somebody is listening to listen to this, what I'm saying, and investigate.
Just like down payment.
They only do a down payment of $50, and the $2,950 be paid by your home.
Give us your address.
And when are you going home? I'm going home on Monday. Okay, Monday at 10 o'clock in the evening, somebody will be knocking your door. They'll deliver to you the goodies, the jacket and the pants and whatever, and you give them over there the $2,950. So the tourist was willing to pay the money here in Egypt. He was about to spend the money here in Egypt.
But the money is taken outside.
The money is outside. Why? Because money stays outside. And the leather and the leather goodies and everything is not coming from Egypt.
That's Turkey.
It's coming from Turkey.
And the shopping facility is Turkish.
Is that new for you?
For me it is.
The shopping facility.
I'm telling you, that's a fact. And I can bring you people, if they open the phone now, I can call people and I bring
This is another way
Sheikh.
you're getting international battling of our industry here in Egypt.
That is true. Well, it's a market. It's a big market.
What about the monopoly? Because, as we were saying, the fact that you have mostly international players in the field and very little Egyptian players in the field, how can we regain control of our goods? In other words, why is it that we don't have more revenue or more players, be it tourism companies or charter flights or what have you, whatever we can put our hands on, so that the revenue really is in Egypt? Because now you're telling me a catastrophe that even the shops,
The big ones, yes.
the big ones. Now
are not
certain
Egyptian,
goods.
we
which is the high quality. Which is
Yes.
what the tourists would
And
want.
better taste and everything, yes.
Yes.
But whatever they offered them is not even made in Egypt. Whatever they offer them is made in Turkey, and the goodies go from Turkey. No industry in Egypt. Egypt just is a showroom. Now, what I'm saying is we need to have a coalition of 6 or 10 good, successful travel companies in Egypt. They form one unit to go to one of the countries that export tourism to Egypt, and the government has to help them with
Russia.
that. And let's say they go to Russia and have one Egyptian company owned by a true Egyptian
With all the facilities.
with everything.
Give them a free hand.
Okay, give them a free hand, yes. And we're building again, okay? And this guy will be selling Egypt. Maybe the others are going to compete with them. We will.
Do we need, question, since you're in the field and you've seen the campaign, and more importantly, you've seen the exhibitions abroad.
There's so much to be done and so
Do we
much to
need
be said.
a foreign PR firm to get our tourism sector back on its feet? Or do we need the Egyptian minds, healthy minds in that field
Thank
to
you.
put their heads together
Well, even though we
and
can
put a
use-
plan, a strategic plan?
I hear you. Even though we can use the Egyptian minds, as you said it, but we still need some local expertise. Each market has a totally different nature. All right? So you cannot bring someone who spent all his life in the UK to market Egypt and Russia, or vice versa.
But when you
Each
talk about a
market-
PR firm, it would be a British, an American, a
And
French, whatever.
That would be
and you
like
would
the
be asking
general
them to do.
image. That would be the general image of
Do we
Egypt.
need this?
Yes, we do.
You don't think we can do it?
Not professional enough. Not because again, it would be all about belly dancing and about tanura.
You're
No.
Yes.
But she.
You're Egyptian,
Yes,
right?
I am. Proud.
And yet you're criticizing the tanura and the belly dancing.
Because it's
and
overrated.
It's done 10,000 times.
The market is saturated.
I understand,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying, you're Egyptians here, and
There are so
you
many
don't
other
see this
things.
as a proper strategy. Why is it that you, as an example,
It can be used,
cannot
but
put
you do not
together?
focus on it.
I understand.
let me-
when
let
you
me-
say
let
you
me
cannot
say
focus
something.
on A, then you must have in mind what should be focused on. And what I'm saying, why is it that people like yourselves cannot sit down and put a scenario
They'll never put
of
us with them.
how to market Egypt abroad?
They'll never put us with them on the table because they don't want us with them. Because we want the better for Egypt. They don't want the better for Egypt. I'm sorry.
I
As you
propose-
said, sorry, Akram, please. Let me tell you one thing. You said a very good thing. A couple of months ago, an Egyptian event company, pure Egyptian, hosted an international composer. Happens to be that I worked with him when he came to Egypt, this guy, and he says, I have never been to a concert around the world as good as the one in Egypt. Of course, he was inspired by the pyramids, he was inspired by the organization, he was inspired by the security. I have to tell you, after the first performance, I hope you know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
I think
I
I
know.
can say
Please don't
because it's
mention
finished.
his name.
No, his name, the actors as well.
Don't mention his name. Go ahead.
Okay, the
Yeah.
composer, the musician. After the first performance, and as we're leaving from his tent to go to the cars, the security officer came, and by the way, this composer had his own security with him.
Yes.
Okay? The Egyptian security was taking over, and they said, sorry, we're changing. And they changed something in the plan. There was 5 cars. His was marked and known. He didn't get in this one. And
This
they-
is this is the security.
and you know what? He said, when his security was saying, he said, let them
Do the job.
Do the job. I trust them. They're doing a great
their
job.
ground.
And you know what? He was so relaxed when he got to the hotel, and he said, first of all, we discovered, by the way, that he's been eating molokhia every day at the hotel. He was sitting in one of the
Did you
nice...
get food poisoning?
No,
Okay.
no. But you know what? He said...
Well, here's the green soup for the
Yeah,
in case
but
of...
he said, I have read all the negative things about Egypt. He said that. He said, but I know it's all media. But you need to talk to us in the West with our language, not yours.
Will the Western governments allow us to talk to their people?
Yes, they would.
Why? It's part of the
Because
plan.
the travel industry, they're connected, and the travel industry people in their country, in the West, they should pressure their governments because they're losing money too. When they don't send business here, they're losing
So
money.
we have to work with those who have vested interest.
With the ones with, exactly, and the ones that has a voice. You know?
Who stood in the Congress and says, we're stupid, we're wasting our relationship with Egypt. Egypt, this is a senator, a congressman called Louis Gohmert. He's a Republican from Texas. You know, of course, he's serving his own interest. He's trying to expose that the Democrats has done a bad thing with Egypt, and Egypt is our best ally in the Middle East, okay? So we should tango with them now, immediately. We switch and we pick up and catch up. Lots of things could be done, but you have to be fast.
What about the private sector? Why is it that we don't see the private sector consolidating efforts? Because really, you're losing a lot of money.
Yes, we are.
They lost.
Why is it that the private sector does not get together and put a strategy?
Well,
Because the problem is we're always relying, not just on tourism, but
you're absolutely right.
we
The
haven't
rules
changed the culture of, we're waiting for the government to do something.
You have to change the minds of the people. You have to change the rules and regulations. You have to change the banking system too. For the private sector, they have to get a certain amount of money from the bank to use in the business. Now they cannot get it as easy as before because you don't have any credibility.
This is political.
You know?
This is a different issue. You're trying to battle another...
So there are things. To go back to your question, how can we raise the market value? How can we get the nice rich tourist, the spending tourist? Well, there are things that we can play with. Mr. Walid and I proposed a few months ago some new ideas that will open a different market for Egypt that we have not seen before. If you remember, and I hope some of your viewers will remember this, right next to the Great Pyramid at Giza, there is an old building that's built like an old temple. And it used to be, it's called King Farouk's tea room. It was the place where the king and his royal guests will go and watch the sunset and see the pyramids. Now the building has been abandoned for more than 30, 40 years. And here is going to be demolished. It's right on top of the hill. We proposed that that building should be turned into a marriage chapel.
It's over a year ago.
Yeah. If you announce this to the world, that's a new product you can put any price to. There are millions of people around the world.
You're smart, you like the idea.
Would be millions of people that would like to have their marriage, you know, at the foot of the pyramids. And you link the idea of marriage with eternity of the pyramids. You'll have millionaires, you'll have private jets. You can put any price to this. You can have guests flying specially for this. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?
He's going to make it
nowadays, how many cooking channels are in Egypt and in the Middle East? How many cooking channels are in the US or Canada or Australia? You know, the big show from Australia, the Master Chefs of Australia. It's touring the world. Cooking or food is part of the tourism now.
Yes,
that's a new segment.
definitely.
A new segment. I mean, we're sitting here and I'm thinking of that restaurant I had in Spain. I love that restaurant, and the first thing I do when I go to Spain is to go to that very restaurant. You know, so you connect a destination with a certain food, a certain food taste.
Definitely.
Well, we should use we should enhance our food to meet Western standards. You know, our food is delicious.
Yes.
And it's healthy and it's wonderful. So we should enhance our food a little bit to match the Western taste.
Market certain specializations
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely. Not only that, invite all these food channels from all over the world. Do a cooking competition at the foot of the pyramids. Get all those master chefs. You know, you will be approaching a totally different clientele. A clientele that will go to taste the wine in France and taste the cheese in Switzerland, who will come and taste the bread at the pyramids. You know, so you have created a new product to match a certain clientele that is unmatched. Then you can make the big buck. But if you're still selling the same thing, the same classic tours, you're getting the cheap ones. If you're still selling your beaches, you're getting the cheap ones. Well, as I said, we cannot get out of that in a day, in an overnight. So let's keep it that way. But we have to create something else.
What about training? And this is a question I don't only address to tourism sector, but it's a question I raise, for example, when we're talking about the Suez Canal mega project, is that when you have a logistics center, you need to qualify people to work. Because I want foreign company X to come and set up shop here. but I don't want them to bring their workers. I want them to use the Egyptian. The same thing with tourism. We may have the advantage of being capable of managing different languages, but we still lack the proper training.
Yes.
What can we do about this? Elevating the quality of...
Again, it's the will. I'll tell you something, and I'll try to not to mention names. I bought a new kitchen somewhere, and I bought it from a company, and they sent me the boys to install it. They sent 3 and they were late because of something. Anyway, I called, I complained. They sent another team to build the whole thing. You know what? They got in, everyone went in direction. I'm sitting watching them, and they finished the whole thing in less than 2 hours. And I asked them, I said, what is this? You Egyptians? He said, yes. Did you go to school? One went to commercial school, one went to agriculture, one he had an institute education, whatever. But anyway, these are very good boys that they wanted to learn something, and they really had a good training. And because their company fires them if they do not maintain a certain level of service, or if I complain, they'll be fired. And the company has very strict rules with them. They pay them very good.
So it's reward and punishment.
Okay. So they finished in 2 hours. They did not smoke a cigarette. They did
But
not.
they're trained.
They're
What
trained.
can we do to train?
Well, I'll tell you what.
How many guests do you have over here? Seriously, I don't know if I can ask you this question, but I will. And you were surprised on air that he doesn't speak English. I mean, he thinks he speaks English. But when he sits in front of you, see, he's smiling. I know. I've seen some people on your channel that they came over here and they think they speak.
This show has been on air for 17 years.
But how many guests? I know. How many guests do you have? You know what?
I can't count because I've been doing it forever now. So.
Well, you have
Usually
people
that's something
sitting in front of you. You have people sitting in front of you. They think they speak English. It's the same
But
thing.
they think in Arabic.
But they think in Arabic, right? When you have a Japanese tourist, you need to have an Egyptian who's been Japanized. He's been to Japan.
But is this done abroad?
Oh yes.
Because
Oh yes. Oh yes.
usually
Yes.
you don't
Yes.
have-
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Big time. Go to the American embassy. Everybody speaks
we
Arabic
don't have
better
to
than me.
compare ourselves. No, I'm saying when you travel to certain places in Europe, I mean, they provide you with a good service, but not based on your culture necessarily.
Let's not compare ourselves to them because we need the business. We're striving to get the business back. So we need the business. We need to improve. They don't need to improve. I don't care. But we need to get the business. There's a serious problem that we're going to face.
Start at school, I mean, in the Faculty of Tourism?
There's so many channels.
Practical,
Yeah.
we need to apply more practical approach
But
to their
let me
education.
address your question from a totally different channel. We will be facing a serious problem when the tourism comes back, like it was. Because there is a huge amount of brain drain in the tourist business that have left the business already. You cannot live 5 years with a zero income. So there are a lot of the well-trained people with experience, they have left the business. And they're not coming back because they have tasted the instability in the business. I know a lot of people have sold their cars, a lot of divorce cases, a lot of, you name
It's
it.
been tough, but not just
Yes.
in the tourism.
No.
I mean, it's
No,
been
no, no,
tough.
no, no.
It's tougher on the
On
the
us,
tourists.
5 years with zero income. 5
Zero, I
years,
mean
zero income.
Blank.
Okay? Tell me, I want to ask you a question since I have the chance.
About the...
No, we're not going to get there. We have,
It's the first time I had a guest that turned me into a guest on
informer.
my show. But go ahead. I've always wanted to be interviewed, so it's a different
I hope
thing.
we
Go
can come
ahead.
again. No, I'm sorry, but
Go ahead, yes.
I have been, a lot of times I've been watching, I mean, I love Nile TV, by the way, and I admire, I mean, you had some of the best TV presenters. I can name
They're in
them.
very high
I was
places
actually with
now.
one of them yesterday at the pyramids, Delia al-Bahiri. She worked here before.
Many
Everybody
names.
went over here. Anyway, big names. And then sometimes I see a guest and I feel sorry for the presenter. Like, hello, you don't speak English and you're in a... Those are the people sometimes you have in tourism. So you need to take all these people out. Let's take it serious. Let's not take it as a joke. Let's be serious. Can anybody joke about the security of the Suez Canal? No. Right. Tourism is the same thing. It needs, I'm sorry, it needs an order. Please,
Tourism should be a national interest.
I'll make you go home tomorrow. If you are posted in Paris as a tourism attaché, and I do not see results from you within the next 120 days, within the next 6 months, okay, you're going to come back and you're going to pay for the period of time that you spend over there and the amount of dollars and euros that you've been sucking out of Egypt, because I'm sending you over there to do magic. At the same time, I have Nermeen Imam in Paris, who's Egyptian, and she has dual nationality. Why don't I use her? And she's going to be a lot less in the housing, in the salary. Why do we have to send an employee?
She knows the culture.
And she knows the culture, and she has license to guide in France. Okay?
Thousands and thousands.
We have them all over the world. We have Mohammed Farouk in Vienna.
This is a different case,
No, but
because you have
I want you to
people
get
here
this
are
point.
posted. This is a public post.
Okay.
And it's a different thing, because if
No,
we
that's
apply
part of the
this,
problem.
then I can do this with the embassy, with the communication office, with the
Do you know how much is the
cultural
salary
office.
of the press,
That person
the tourism
is-
attaché in Japan? I'm sorry.
I don't want to go into numbers, but
And he doesn't speak Japanese.
He is sent to do a mission. Is he the right one to do the mission or not? Now let me go back to this. If the tourism comes back today, tomorrow, next year, we will have a serious problem. Hiring more people, or hiring people to do the job.
we need to train people.
Yes. So
we need to spend this time to train.
Instead of keeping our force in the past 5 years and maintain it and train it and improve it, unfortunately, we let it all go. So now we have 1/3 of that force.
But this happened in different sectors. I mean, we have companies that shut down because they just can't make...
No, but they can find another job. Not in tourism. Not in tourism.
But you know what,
Not
the
in
good thing, I mean, we cannot be negative about everything. The good thing that the Tanura guy is still maintaining his health and he's doing fine, because he's the only one who didn't stop. The Tanura guy, that they take him everywhere.
It seems you have a personal problem with the
I have a
Tanura
personal
guy.
problem of using the Tanura
No,
guy.
I like the Tanura show.
I like the Tanura too, but it did not work. Stop it. It did not work. You know what?
It was good at the beginning.
In Valley of the Kings, nearby Valley of the Kings, we have Ahmed. Why don't in one of the travel shows, instead of the Tanura and the belly dancer and the hibiscus, try for once. Take the risk and take Ahmed, get him a passport.
It's a
Ahmed
stone carver.
with a stone carver, with a piece of limestone, and he will attract everyone. Because we have tried it. When we go to Valley of the Nobleman, the tourist stands there for an hour watching him drawing with his hand. You know, Ahmed did not go to art school, but Ahmed lived in the tomb of Ramosa.
He's a native in the village.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so he learned how to
There
draw.
are so many ideas, but we are still keeping on the classic thinking.
Yes.
We need to think differently.
We need to think out of the box.
We need more time.
Unfortunately, our time is up. It's not dark. It's a battle.
No, it's not
battle
dark.
from within.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we have to start.
And battle from outside.
That's true.
And we have to work on both fronts.
You're absolutely
and we need to reinvigorate our industry and make sure that the
They did
poor
not do-
Abdu does not pay for the rich John. Let's
They
put it
did
that
not
way.
do what, you know, what happened in Tunisia at the beach. They did not do what they did with us here in Egypt, and they said they want to check, you know.
Yeah,
so
I
they're not being fair
understand.
and
Well, politics is not fair.
That is true.
It's more a political than a tourist.
No, we have to use every tool in our hand.
Exactly,
You know.
exactly.
and
Gentlemen,
we're coming back.
thank you very much for your fruitful input. I'd like to
Thank
thank
you for having us.
the viewers, and I want to wish Muslims worldwide a very happy Mawlid, or Prophet's birthday, or what we would call as our Christmas, so to speak. And on that note, I wish you a very pleasant evening and good night.